Bush camping. Everyone's done it, and I think it's fair to assume most of us don't enjoy it. Whether it's sitting in a bush waiting for your opportunity to pounce on another unsuspecting player, or being on the receiving end of an ambush, bush camping only leads to unengaging downtime or a whole lot of frustration. So with that said, a map full of bushes wouldn't be all that great, right? Welcome to Map Review, the show where we take an in-depth look into maps that were or are currently in rotation. I'm LuPG13, and the map we'll be looking at today is Snake Prairie. So without further ado, let's get into it. Snake Prairie was added to the game back on the 14th of June in 2017. Now I'm not even going to pretend like I was playing the game around this time, as I hadn't heard of the game until late 2018, but from the gameplay I've seen, it played pretty similarly to how it would nowadays. The main difference between now and then, plus all the times it was removed and added back, is the number of brawlers that are viable on the map. The only thing that hasn't changed is the camping aspect of the map. Ever since the map was added to the game, Bo has been a very prominent brawler on the map, to say the least. His ability to destroy grass with his super was very useful for opening up the map. That, paired with his circling eagle star power, also gave him the ability to scout out the map better than any other brawler could at the time. Skipping to the current day, Snake Prairie isn't in the game at the moment, but it's not too hard to imagine what the meta on the map would look like. Without going into too much detail, with the addition of gadgets like Psychic Enhancer and brawlers like Mr. P and Grom, if you don't have a brawler on your team that can enhance your team's sight in some way, then you already lost the match before it even began. With the introduction of gadgets, Bo also received one that pairs really well with camping. Having the ability to completely charge your super without engaging the enemy team was something only Daryl could do at the time, but Bo's super totem changed that. Now it was possible to destroy the grass and camp the whole game without most of your team needing to leave spawn. A lot of people like to say that brawlers other than Bo, Terra, or other sight-enhancing brawlers were playable on the map. While yes, this is true, those other brawlers still needed Bo or Tara to at least function well, especially sharpshooters like Piper and Brock before they started destroying the grass. Ironically though, the target group of brawlers for this map, that being tanks and tank counters, were hardly used at all outside of lower trophy ranges besides Rosa. Now to actually talk about the map, Snake Prairie is an asymmetrical bounty map covered in grass, 538 bush tiles to be exact. Now on paper, having a map that limits the player's sight and promotes aggressive gameplay both at the same time is a great idea, but unfortunately, the only thing this map promotes is just camping. Winning? Just camp. Losing? Try to gain the lead, then camp. It's just a never-ending cycle of camping. Don't get me wrong though, not all camping is necessarily a bad thing. Camping to secure a win in the final moments of a match is a fair thing to do, and sometimes it can lead to a lot of exciting plays from both teams. But I guess that's more of a defensive strategy than it really is camping. The problem with camping in Snake Prairie though, is the fact that camping is not just a viable strategy, it's pretty much the only strategy. Once you get the blue star and a couple of kills to secure the lead, you can destroy the grass that connects both sides of the map and camp for the rest of the match. The other team will have no way of knowing where you are while they are out in the open, allowing for sharpshooters to pick them off. As for the little structures clustered around the map, they just reinforce camping. The ones in mid aren't actually that useful though. They were probably added there to have choke points of some kind in areas that could be controlled theoretically, but since pushing up the map quickly becomes discouraged as the match goes on, they most likely end up getting destroyed anyways. The rest of the structures, especially the horizontal ones near the back of the map, provide plenty of cover so teams can camp behind them. Another thing I'll note is that brawlers with a normal detection range can't see on the other side of these walls, as they are 2 blocks wide, so I guess they can be used to avoid enemies if you somehow know they're there, but it's not really beneficial to use these walls at all for anything other than camping. Another thing players enjoyed doing was sneaking around the map and hiding on the enemy side of the map to avoid detection. Of course, this mostly happened in challenge videos and stuff like that, but I thought I should at least mention it as it kind of puts into perspective how much grass there is. Just like in the last video, I once again decided to try to remake Snake Prairie into something that fits the concept better. Now I made quite a few maps for this, but none of them really felt much better than the original. all of them still ended up being really campy and still played pretty similarly to the original, despite me removing a ton of grass, diagonally mirroring it, and even removing a few walls too. Now with that said, could someone take on this task of remaking the map and make it into something better? Most likely, yes. As for myself, I don't think I could do that at the moment. But if you think you could, join my Discord server and post it there. At the end of the day, Snake Prairie is an excellent example of why having too much grass on a map can be a bad idea. Sure, having grassy areas on a map is fine, but making a grassy area and adding walls to it can encourage camping, depending on the bush type. The next time you decide to make a bush-heavy map, try to refrain from making bush patches so big that they are impossible to check before you enter, or contain a bunch of walls in them, or cover the whole map. Basically, just don't make Snake Prairie 4.0 or whatever we're on now. And that's it for today's episode of Map Review. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more, leave a like and comment down below to let me know your thoughts on the video. If you don't want to miss any of my future uploads, make sure to subscribe for more and ring that bell to stay notified. The previous episode of Map Review was about the knockout map Deep End. If you want to see that, check out this video on screen.